Now go on. Why are you Jack in the country and Ernest in the town?
My dear Algy, I have a hard time believing that you'll understand my true motives. You are hardly serious enough. You see, when one is put in the position of guardian, one must take a high moral tone in all aspects of life. And it can be said to conduce that a high moral tone can do little for one's health or one's happiness. So, in order to go into town, I have created a younger brother by the name of Ernest, who lives in Albany, who gets into the most dreadful scrapes. And that, my boy, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is never pure and never simple. If it were, modern life would be very tedious, and modern literature a complete impossibility.
Well, that wouldn't all be a bad thing.
Literary criticism is not your forte, my dear boy. Don't try it. Leave it to the people who haven't spent a year at a university. What you really are is a Bunburyist.
Well, what do you mean?
Yes, you have invented a very useful younger brother so that you may come to town as often as you'd like. Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. If it wasn't for Bunbury's extraordinarily bad health, for instance, I wouldn't be able to dine with you at Willie's tonight.
What? I haven't asked you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
I know. You're absurdly careless about sending out invitations, and nothing is more annoying than not receiving an invitation.
No, you'd better dine with the Aunt Augusta tonight.
I haven't the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. To begin with, I dine there on Monday, and once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relatives. Besides, now that I know you to be a confirmed Bunburyist, I naturally want to talk to you about Bunbury. I want to tell you the rules.
Well, I'm not Bunbury at all. If Gwendolen accepts me, why, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Since Lee is a little too much interested in him, it's quite a bore. So, I am going to get rid of Ernest. And I strongly advise you to do the same with Mr. whoever your invalid friend is with the absurd name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. And if you ever get married, which seems to be extremely problematic, and you will be very glad to know Bunbury, a man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
That is nonsense. If I marry a charming girl like Gwendolen, and she is the only girl I ever saw in my life who I would marry, why, I wouldn't want to know a Bunbury anyhow.
Then your wife will. You see, in marriage company, 3 is company and 2 is none.
My dear young friend, that is what the corrupt French drama has been trying to propound for the past 50 years.
And what the happy English home has proven in half that time.
Oh, don't try to be so cynical. It's so easy to be cynical.
My dear fellow, it isn't easy to be anything nowadays. There's such a lot of beastly competition about it. Ah, that must be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives or creditors ring in that Wagnerian manner. Now, if I get her out of the way for 10 minutes, so that you can have an opportunity for proposing to Gwendolen, may I dine with you tonight at Willie's?
I suppose, if you must.
Yes, but you must be serious about it. I hate people that aren't serious about meals.
Yes,
It's so shallow of them.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you're behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Emily Franklin.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Oh, dear me, why? She is very smart.
Well, I know smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, well, I hope I am not that. It would leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry for a little late, Algernon. I was obligated to call on dear Lady Harbury. I haven't been over there since her poor husband's death. I never saw a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a cup of tea and one of those little cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Won't you come and sit here, Gwendolen?
Thanks, Mama, but I'm perfectly comfortable where I am.
Oh, good heavens! Why are there no cucumber sandwiches?
I ordered them specially. I am greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumber sandwiches, not even for ready money.
It really makes no difference, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to be living for only pleasure now.
I heard her hair turned quite gold from grief.
It has certainly changed its color. From what I cause, of course, cannot say. Thank you. I have quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She is such a nice woman, so attentive to her husband. It's quite delightful to watch them.
I am afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight, after all.
Oh, I hope not, Algernon. It would completely put my table out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he's accustomed to that.
It is a great bore, and I hardly need say, a terrible disappointment to me. But the fact is, I have just had a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again. They seem to think that I should be with him.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Oh yes, poor Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think it is high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he's going to live or die. It is my last reception, and one wants something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season, when everyone has said whatever they have to say, which in most cases is probably not very much.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious. And I think I can promise you he'll be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great difficulty. You see, if one plays good music, people don't listen. And if one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I'll run over the program I've drawn out. If you'll kindly come into the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. This is very thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be delightful after a few excursions. French songs I cannot possibly allow. People seem to think that they are improper. They either look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. But German sounds like a thoroughly respectful language, and indeed I believe so. Gwendolyn, will you accompany me?
Certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Mrs. Fairfax.